All right, I want to bring two very prominent GOP fundraisers into this, Georgette Mosbacher and Foster Friess. Big night of change. Georgette, for you first, Marco Rubio now stepping out of the race. 2 weeks ago, he looked like the golden boy on his way, and now he's on his way out the door. What happened?
Well, I don't think he was called the golden boy by those who wanted him to be the golden boy. But the truth of the matter is he wasn't really winning very much. I mean, this whole election has been about Trump. And tonight, I would have to say that it's even, Trump is still March to July's convention. Cruz, however, I was, as a lifelong Republican, I thought maybe the party was morphing into something I didn't understand, because I thought it was the party that was starting to become anti-business. But after hearing Cruz's speech tonight, I was comforted. And it sounded like the Republican Party I know. However, Donald Trump has brought real vitality to this debate, and I do think he is bringing new people to the polling booth. I will say, however, that I do agree with Charlie to some degree, and that is...
Worst thing you can say, Georgette.
Calm down.
Feed the beast. Go ahead.
All right, calm down. In that, you know, there's a reason you need 1,237 delegates to be the candidate. And if you're 5 delegates short, then what's the point of having 1,237? Then you're not the candidates. You can't steal it from them, because they don't have it in the first place when you get to the convention.
Fair enough. Foster Friess, what do you think of that? Now, obviously, Donald Trump is convinced he will get to that magic number. Do you think if he doesn't, if he gets a few short, or that this is going to be an ugly convention, it's going to be contested, it's going to be, you know, a food fight?
I think it'd be really a disaster, because the American people are going to be so upset that this is what they're angry about, the establishment taking away the vote from them. And certainly the rules would feel that it's an establishment set of rules, and if the either Cruz or Trump, one of the two doesn't get the nomination, I think there's going to be a lot of bitterness and people will just stay home. But I think the other important thing, Neil, is we Republicans don't get the strategy. The Democrats want to give free education. Well, you look at these campuses, how spread out they are now. We just ought to one-up them, and we ought to throw in a free motor scooter on top of the free education. I think that'd be a sure winning ticket, don't you?
Well, sure enough, that is part of the new plan. You gave it away there. But Georgette, I'm wondering your take on just the mood in the party. I'm noticing a lot of times Hatfields and McCoys, the two will not say a good word about the other, and I'm wondering whether bygones could be bygones by the time everyone gets to Cleveland. I mean, there have been divisive conventions, and Republicans have come out of them, and there have been other divisive conventions where, you know, wounds take a long time to heal. 76 comes to mind. Yes,
but they do heal. And
but the idea is for them to heal before November.
Well, politics is a blood sport, regardless. And at some point, they do come together. There's nothing like a winner to bring you on the bandwagon, as they say. And it won't be any different this time. We'll come together.
Can Donald Trump be that winner?
Yes, Donald Trump can be that winner.
All right, Foster, what do you make of that? Can Donald Trump be the guy to bring this party together?
Well, absolutely. I think Cruz and Trump are remarkable human beings, as is Rubio. I mean, I was so delighted with all 17 of the candidates. But if you look at the fellow, I can't remember who it was a minute ago, said that Hillary Clinton's kind of for the middle class and Trump's the 1%. Holy mackerel. Do you know how much the Clintons made last year? They made $28 million combined. And, well, suddenly we've heard this 1% has disappeared. But I think either Cruz or Trump would just make mincemeat out of Hillary Clinton off of this Canadian Foundation. You saw the Krauthammer article where apparently if you give money to a Canadian foundation, they don't have to divulge the contributor. They then packaged it, gave to the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation got money, therefore, from some guy who had a bunch of uranium interest in America, which was sold to the Russians, and that had to be approved by Hillary Clinton. I don't understand why the Republicans aren't, you know, more.
Let me bring my colleagues into this. Lou Dobbs?
Yeah, Foster, Lou Dobbs, good to see you. And you will be pleased, I'm sure you know, that the FBI's investigation is thought to be considering all of those transactions that parallel the uranium deal with the Russians. One of the things that you just said about all of the candidates, this has been a great field. 17 folks were winnowed down to this, but the animosity that I am hearing from various quarters, that we're all hearing, petulant and petty, much of it, but also at the same time understandable in the pain that they've all gone through. I have not ever heard people talk about the front runner of the party and the way they are talking about Donald Trump. And I want to compliment you for stepping right up immediately, because I know that you've supported other candidates, obviously. I don't see the way forward here if we go into that brokered convention, as I've been saying. I think it's going to be worked out in the weeks leading up to that convention if need be, and if the 1237 isn't reached by Trump. What do you think?
Yeah, I believe that it has to be the Trump or Cruz as their nominee, and both are such talented people. I've known Ted since he's running for Attorney General, and you spend time with Heidi and Ted. They're such down-to-earth, kind, wonderful people. I think he'd make a great president. Trump would make a great president. I've just gotten to know Donald lately, but my success in life, Lou, has come by a number of reasons. One is I never looked at people's weaknesses and just harnessed their strengths. Donald's weakness right now isn't diplomatic speech, but I think people change, and I believe if we all look at take the Christian worldview of judging people not where they've been and where they're at, but what they can become. Right. And I think Donald Trump could become unbelievable. In fact, I'm holding out my prayers. If he becomes president a couple of years from now, he's going to be hosting Bible studies in the White House.
Hey, I doubt that. Georgette, it's Charlie Gasparino.
Hi, Charlie.
You've been through the mill a lot with political campaigns, and you and I both know Donald, and we know him personally. Yeah. We know that the vitriolic and some of the statements that he makes, some of the nasty things he says, really isn't him personally, but he did say these things personally about women. He did say these things about immigrants. He's going to need to get women and immigrants to vote for him and independents. Can he make that jump? Because every Democrat I talk to says, listen, we look at poll numbers and his negatives. We can't wait to get this guy, and he can't put the genie back in the bottle. Do you think he can?
You know, Charlie, I think this is we've never seen anything like this. And clearly, Donald Trump has touched something with the American people. And it's real. And I do think that he can say, he's been able to say anything he wants to say, and he's still winning. Yep. I do think he can put the genie back in the bottle. I think that maybe a lot of this we're overreacting to, because quite frankly, he's so politically not correct that in some ways it's almost refreshing. Now, the other side of that is that those that really don't like Donald are making very big deals out of and blowing a lot of this out of proportion. So, you know, I don't know that it's as bad as our own party is beating him up. The amount of money that was spent in Florida is obscene against our own candidate. To lose point, we are beating up our own candidate. And at some point, if they don't figure that out, if we don't figure that out, then, well, you know, we're losing it.
I agree with you, Georgette, but, I mean, you know, those were his words. It's not like they're putting it in his mouth, you know?
No, yeah, I know.
But still, Charlie, if I can interject this thing on immigrants, I have a friend who's the pastor of 1,500 Hispanics in Phoenix area, and when Trump came out with his statement, he wasn't against immigrants. He was against all the bad people that are coming across with the people. And so the left jumped on that as anti-immigrant. Look at all the immigrants he hires. So I think this is to our advantage.
All right, I don't mean to top on top. Georgette, I apologize. We have to go here to pay our bills here.